Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
It's an uncapped game.
Ooh, 2-5 uncapped. Wow, nice. That they do that also too in New Orleans. I was there, but it wasn't running, but I do remember playing in that game.
Yeah. So we're actually playing four-handed,
Okay.
and we are in the cutoff. The player to our left is a reg, and the two players to our right are fish.
Okay.
So we have we have a button straddled at $10,
Okay.
and we have two limps from the two fish to our right.
So the small and the big blind limp, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And we've been playing four-handed for about 2 hours now, and they have limped every small and big blind, and the reg in the button has been straddling every button.
Okay.
So we look down at Queen of Hearts, Queen of Diamonds,
Mm-hmm.
and we decide to raise it up to 60. We are 1850 in front of us, and the player to our left, the other regular, he covers us, and he three bets to 180.
Okay. So button 3 bets to 180. I assume the blinds fold.
The small blind folds, and
Uh-huh.
the big blind actually calls.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's certainly going to incentivize me to 4-bet here. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, so you're playing 2-5-10, 1850 effective. And now I've always said this, and I continue to say it on Live at the Bike, that people don't get it in with the same types of ranges and straddled pots. But when you're looking at this, you're, 185 big blinds effective. I'm not sure how good the button is in this spot. If he's like, you say he's a reg, and obviously he's taking advantage by straddling the button, but
He's a crusher.
he's a
For sure.
crusher. I mean, I
Yeah.
would still 4-bet, and I would 4-bet get it in. If he's a crusher, you're playing four-handed and you're 185 big blinds deep with queens. You got the big blind calling you. You want to make it large. I would probably make it so he went to 180. I would probably make it like 700, maybe 675. I actually like your stack though too, because it sometimes might even appear that the guy has fold equity if you were to come back over the top. So it's not like one of these spots where it looks like you're committing yourself.
Okay, well, I did four bet, but I only made it 550.
Yeah, I mean that's a little bit small. He should be calling. I mean, do you want to get called if this guy's a crusher?
I mean, my biggest thought was I wasn't sure if I could work in too many bluffs here just because of the big blind calling as well. So I don't know.
What does that mean?
Maybe
What does
bigger
that
size
mean?
make-
You mean
Like
because the big blind calls, like you can't have that many bluffs, so you're gonna size smaller?
maybe the thought process is incorrect. However, I just felt like I can't be like my range has to be kind of value heavy because there's the possibility of the big blind calling behind,
I
and
mean,
so
I
I don't want to be
guess
doing.
so. I think you're thinking about it maybe a little bit too complex, but I mean, you can still have some bluffs there, though. I mean, you're not gonna have airball bluff bets, but so what? I mean, sounds to me like the big blind is a pretty big fish. But anyway, so you make it 550.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the button actually calls,
shocking.
and the big blind calls as well.
Wow. Okay, so the pot's like gonna be like almost 1,700, and you're gonna have what, like 12, 1,300 left, something like that.
I've got 1,300 left, and the
Mm.
pot is 1,650.
Okay.
A little bit more, but
Yeah.
so how do you, I guess that's a problem I have. How do you really go about like figuring out your four bet sizing in spots like this? Like, where did you come up with 700?
I mean, you're out of position. I usually go like 4x when out of position. Sometimes I even add some dead money calls and stuff in there too. So I mean, if you went 4x plus the call, you would probably do like 900. But I feel like if you do 900, then there is no wiggle room for the button to ever come back over the top as a bluff. But I mean, if the button is three betting you here to 180 and the other guy calls, right? That the pot's 360. You only make it
Right.
550, so the pot's going to be 910, 370 for him to call, right? You're only making it 370 more. It's really tiny. Like, what is he
Okay.
folding there? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So we do go to a flop three ways,
Uh-huh.
and the flop comes out Jack of spades, seven of spades, seven of clubs.
Okay.
The big blind goes ahead and checks, and I wasn't really sure here. I didn't really think jamming made sense. I don't know. I ended up checking, but I don't know how I feel about that now.
I mean,
Especially with you saying how wide the big blind is going to, or the button is going to continue.
yeah,
Pre-flop.
the pot's so big. I mean, I would even want equity protection here. Like if you had aces or something, I could see I could see sometimes checking, but would tend to try to bet small against two people. Um, you don't have a spade in your hand. The pot's 1650. You've got, would you say 1300 left, something like that?
Correct.
I mean, I suppose you could just go really small and then call off. Try to, because the thing is that maybe the big blind, if he's so stationy, like, or if he's such a fish.
He's really not. I mean, he's fishier pre-flop, but he's not like super stationary. Like,
Right,
if
but
I decided to jam, I don't see him calling with a like ace jack or anything.
you don't think he's going to call with ace jack if you jam here? I mean, that's the whole point with I mean, it's less than a pot size bet left.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't know. It seemed to me like this guy definitely wasn't like he understood that this is like the biggest pot that like this is the biggest raise pre-flop there's been in like 6 hours at the table. Like he understands that my range here is pretty strong. I didn't expect him to just like he wasn't super stationary, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I would probably bet like 350, call it off. Try to make them make a mistake, and they're going to be getting like 5-1. You know, something like that. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, you'll get in a hairy spot if an ace or a king comes, but that's what I would probably do. I probably would not check.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I did, and the button also checked.
Okay.
So we're going three ways to the turn again, and the turn is the four of spades.
Okay.
Big blind checks again, and I bet 450.
Okay.
Button calls, and the big blind actually folds.
So the pot is what, like 22? No, the pot is 2550, and you've got what, 850 left, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the river comes off the ace of spades, so there's now four spades on board.
Mm-hmm.
I checked, and the button jammed, and I just ended up folding.
Well, how can you call?
Right.
I mean, I know it. I mean, he's probably. I just. What is he continuing with on your bet on the turn that doesn't have a spade in it? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, he's probably not. It's funny because you wonder if you even sometimes lose to accidental bluffs where a guy's turning an ace into a bluff somehow or something like that. But what is he calling with on the turn? I mean, the only thing I could
Yeah.
possibly see is he's turning like nines or tens that don't have a spade into a
I mean,
bluff. But
I didn't really even think about
okay,
calling,
okay,
but so really, I guess the biggest mistake here is pre-flop and then the flop. But what kind of range would you be three betting or four betting here? Excuse me.
well, like I
Like
said,
pre-flop.
you're definitely incentivized to four bet a wider range because of the fact that there's somebody in there. Just like you're incentivized to three bet when somebody else comes in as a dead type of thing. I can be honest with you, I might do it with a pretty large range. I might do it with ace queen suited, ace king. I might even do it with like tens plus. It's different if that other guy hadn't come in. If the other guy hadn't come
Right.
in, you might want to you might want to four bet a more polarized range. Here, it's a little bit skewed more towards kind of, I don't know if you would say mergy, but a little bit more linear, I guess, is what I would say, because the guy called in between. It's different,
Okay.
you know.
That makes a lot of sense.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.